morning, traders. Welcome to the daily webinar. There wasn't a webinar yesterday because of the US holiday, but surprisingly, the market did move. I probably should have done it, hindsight, but it's a holiday, so I didn't think the US session would move the market. So today's webinar will go out on YouTube for the general public. And if you like it, to the general public, I would advise if you're watching this, watch it to the end, even if you don't. If you don't trade some of the instruments that are at the end of the thing that you need to see, still watch it because you can learn something from it. Because at any point in time in the entire webinar, I will stop and elaborate on one or two instruments. And that means if you watch it to the end, you will probably see it, right? And those are very good learning moments for you. If you like what you see and you would like to learn more about it, if you're watching it for the first time, go watch more of my videos. If you like what you see and you like to have this on a daily basis, send me a Skype message. I do not have a website. I do not have promotional materials, and I don't do all that stuff. But if you would like to learn this stuff and you would like to join our group, send me a Skype message. You'll get the details. Let's move on. So we're going to start. By the way, please share it as well. Dollar index. Let's come. We're in the dollar index, and like we expected yesterday, this should go down. That was the buy. This was the sell. This was the sell here in that one. The break of that was the sell. We had it on the euro. You can see the pattern that is downside. I don't know for a fact that this one would come and break the low. We know we will eventually break that low. We've already made that decision that they're likely going to go break the low, after which we're going to expect this whole thing to turn, right, and go up. How far they will go beyond the low, we don't know. But these are sell setups, which means you're going to take these sell setups. Let's see how far it goes. I believe there might be more corrections on the way down. We might start to see this curving on the way down before it hits the low. So every sell setup you get, take the trade. This sell setup was yesterday. Probably wait for another consolidation. We'll likely break this low before we have another big consolidation. So all you need is a flag. And if you get a flag, that's a sell setup. Take the trade. At some point, they always stop and make another deep consolidation, but they normally would break the low first. So there might be one more drop here today, and then we might see another consolidation. Silver's going up. So silver is making a really complex pattern here. And there are a number of ways you can look at it, right? Because there are a number of patterns that are valid as of now, right? If you turn the patterns around, there are validity in a number of patterns that you can find. But you have to look at the ones that is most likely going to happen now and then add those pieces to see what the final pattern will be. So we first had this last week. We were thinking that this is making, I'm not going to go through the entire thing, a complex pattern that should go here, come back, break the low, and then go, right? That's the assumption that we do something like this for the correction. But it actually went a little higher. And that did not negate the possibility of an expanding flat. But this one should break the low, or at least come very close to this low and break it, which didn't happen. And it made a three-wave structure. So I immediately think that maybe we're going to have a more complex pattern. That was my thought process. And we went back to the triangular contracting flat. It's not a triangle, it's a contracting flat pattern we had in there. And if we look at that as a contracting flat, let's look at this as a possible contracting flat in the middle. Then we're left with this piece, and this piece. So there is a good chance that this could make another three-wave structure here for a much bigger corrective structure, or even drop for a much bigger correction, which means a much bigger daily correction. We're in the middle of a daily correction as it stands right now, right? This is the daily correction, and we're in the middle of it. Literally, we are almost in the middle of this structure, right? See, we are not breaking the tops, we're not breaking the lows, we're in the middle of it. And that means that if this structure becomes more complex as it stands right now, we can go down, we can go up. We're in the middle of it. It could just become a much more complex structure. So for the short-term trade today, the ones that I'll be looking for, forget about the big picture. What's the short-term trade? The short-term trade is either we come back here, make a flag, and we sell because we just broke that up. That's a possibility. If we look at this as a 1, 2, 3-wave structure, that possibility exists. Or they stay, they go above that top. This goes above the top. Make a flag here or a consolidation, and then I buy. If they make a consolidation above that top, then we're buying to break this top. We're going to come and break that up. That will give us, this would be the end of this correction. This would be a very slow move up, or a bigger running flat pattern. So you don't have a buy or sell setup maybe for the next 5 hours. You need an impulse, a correction sell. You need a correction a little more higher. You're already in an impulse, a little higher above the top. Stay there, consolidate, buy. Any trade in the middle here is pretty much risky. You can lose that trade, right? So gold, on the other hand, gold made a new high. See, we made a new high. And every time gold made a new high, especially with divergence in play, the probability is you're going to get a pullback and go, or you could get a reversal at any time. I don't think it's reversing because we broke out of the structure, right? I don't know for sure that they're not going to reverse, but we broke out the structure. And if you play around with this structure a little to figure out all the patterns you can have, you can start with this as an impulse. And then if you look at the sharp waves that goes against the structure, you could probably be looking at these, right? This was a sharp wave against the structure, drop, consolidation, drop, consolidation, drop. Sharp wave against structure, drop, consolidation, drop, consolidation, drop. So I'm thinking this is pretty sharp. It's pretty much like this one. What if we repeat that as a pattern? Drop, consolidation, drop, consolidation, drop. What if we're repeating that as some kind of a pattern, right? We'll come back as to what that pattern should be later on, right? Is that a possibility? And then that possibility is open, right? If you think that is a possibility, you'll have to wait till that it is proved that that possibility is what we're doing. Since we have a lot of divergence in here, that possibility is still open. So we broke the top. Every time you broke the top, you'd be very careful as to, is it going to reverse, right? And if it is going to reverse, let it make an impulse like they did here, make a flag, and we will sell, right? The same thing we did there, same thing we do here. Make an impulse, there's a flag early here, but this is one you could have bought. You know, if you bought that, you want to get out of the trade, move your stops very tight. I am not sure that they're going to do this, but if they do this, we will sell, right? Because they could still go a little more above the top or just keep going up. Go back, consolidate above here, we're buying. Because of all the divergence that is happening and the way it's moving up, there's a high probability for the downside. But can it go one more up before that downside starts? Absolutely. So if you get a flag, you buy. Take the one impulse, take your profit off. If it drops, make an impulse and then consolidate. That's a good sell setup, and we will sell it. Euro, that was a buy setup yesterday. Yesterday morning, we had, in my group, we had a session in our trading room, but we didn't do a webinar because I thought nothing is going to happen, but they moved. So the entry order for my group was to put your entry order here because it's simple. The same thing I'm telling you to look for on the gold and silver. Stop, reverse, make a flag, then you buy. You're getting another flag here, that's another buy setup. So the question is, can gold come down and euro go up? Absolutely. We have seen them done that many times. Euro should probably go and break this top, or can euro stay in this consolidation and don't go break the top? That is also possible. We can be starting a much bigger consolidation euro in here, right? So euro can go break this top slightly, come back slow, go back, come back slow, go back, and then we got a big consolidation here going on. We don't know which one it's going to be. We're very close to breaking the daily top, and I do think they will break that daily top. Not necessarily this move will go break that daily top, but eventually they'll break it. So can they make a small consolidation in there on the 1 hour? I mean, relatively big on the 1 hour, but small on the daily, right? Can this thing stay here for a while and then go? Yep, that's possible. So if you're in the buy already, you have to move your stops very tight. If not, wait for this consolidation to over. It's kind of broke the top already out of that small consolidation, but I'll still give it a chance as an expanding or running flat. I'll still leave it open for a possible running or expanding flat, which means we can still wait for it to come break the low and then put an entry order. If it breaks the low, go back, that's your trade. If it comes here, consolidate, we can look for sell, right? But because it's breaking tops, I think we can make an argument that this is all the flat. You can see that we broke the top and we reverse it. But we know sometimes they make it much more complex, which means there are more parts to it. You come down, you end up with a big flat in the middle here. You come back down here, go back up, drop, and then take off. We've seen that possibility too. So we would leave the possibility open for an entry order above the top once we come back to the low. And if they're going to go down, they will never go back to the top. They'll just drop, make a flag, and then we sell. Pound, we're not buying. We also broke the top on the pound. You broke the top of this 4 hour structure, which means you're not trying the daily structure, this one. And because of that, there is no buy setup. You have a lot of divergence in play. You can't buy it there as it stands right now. So what you're probably looking for is let it come back down, make the same thing like gold and silver, which means euro might not go up. Come back here, make a flag, and we will sell. If I'm going to buy this, it has to go above that, make a consolidation, and I mean a really solid consolidation, which guarantees me an impulse to the upside that can give me break even, if in the worst case scenario. There is no buying that thing at the very top of it. That's the turning point would it normally be. Right? Aussie will probably go somewhere. Aussie is doing exactly what we expected to do in the pattern. Break the lows, go back up, come somewhere. There's probably one more push on the Aussie to that level, and then we can expect it to go down here because we're looking for that move down, right? So you're looking at 1, 2, 3. One more up. So you have 1, 2, 3. And then we should get 1, 2, 3. So if that pattern plays out the way we expect it to play, that is what we should have. We should have a big consolidation. You can see the opposite here. Impulse, consolidation, impulse. Impulse, we're in the consolidation right now. And I think we're going to get an impulse here. The only thing about this impulse, I really don't think it's going to go very far. Right? Because I don't think it's the big impulse to the downside. I think this is part of the B wave. So this one might just probably come to about this level, and then we could have another one up, break the top again, and then go for the bigger one, because this would be more something like this. Right? So this would be the B part of that whole structure. Then we go back up and come down. That is a possibility, but we'll sell it. If you're in the buy, you want to move your stops. I think we will see it probably go some more. You might not really get a buy because they might just finish that move without a consolidation or without a flag. But if they make a flag, there's one more trade to the upside. If you don't get a flag, let it finish that move. Look for the reversal, look for the flag, and look for the downside. We'll be selling it. New Zealand. Right, New Zealand, same structure. New Zealand, on the other hand, is still in this weird kind of consolidation. This one is supposed to drop all the way to the bottom, and it didn't drop. So what we're going to do, we see we put an entry order that didn't get triggered, take it off. And now you would expect them to go break the top for a more complex B wave structure. That is this B part, right? So this B part would probably be something like this. I think we will take it from probably this point. And we would expect this to go a little more, which means come to the top here. Not necessarily break that top, but come to the top there for a much complex 1, 2, 3 wave. And we still have these waves to go. Right? We still have the sharper waves to play out. Now, if you're new to wave analysis or you have no idea about wave analysis, that would confuse you what I just did. So I'm going to take out these lines to not confuse you, right? What we're looking for is a possibility of this, making the flat within this structure. So you've got one up, one down, one up, one down, and we're probably getting one more up here. That just makes a bigger flat in here for one more down. So probably a little more up there, and then we'd be looking for a sell setup. Now, you may say, well, what are the chances it's going to take off? Well, then if it takes off, let it take off. You're probably getting a buy setup here if you want it. I would not probably go for this buy so much because there's no big risk to reward based on my analysis. If it goes, it goes. But based on the analysis I'm doing, there isn't a big risk to reward. So I shouldn't be in that trade. See, that's what wave analysis is about. It's not about you have to be 100% sure it's going to do what you do. But when it does do what you expect it to do, that's your edge in the market. And you should take advantage of that edge. When it doesn't do what you didn't expect it to do, or when it does something that you didn't expect it, well, you're not in the trade. That's about it. You didn't lose the world. You're just not in the trade. So what if this thing comes here, turn, make a flag? We will sell it. That's what we expect it to do. Congratulations. We'll probably get a good trade. If it does this, well, big deal. I'm not in the trade. I'm not buying it. That's it. It just went, I'll wait for the turn and then look for a sell, right? Because it's still in a correction. If you understand wave analysis, we're still in a correction. Can this go break that up and then come back? If you know anything wave analysis, you'll be pretty happy they do that, because now you understand this piece and you're saying, oh, we're coming back here. This is my trade. Right now, the trade I'm showing you, based on what we have, is probably just doing this, coming back here and going back up. That is to complete this pattern and then go back up for this one. maybe even coming back down for this one before we go there, and then we come here. See? So based on the pieces that I have and based on the patterns that I know, or the probability of making the patterns that I know, I would say I'm not buying this. Let it go. We will see on any other trade if we have a buy setup. So far, Pong, we don't have a buy setup. Aussie, maybe just a little piece to finish. Euro is maybe a buy if you get a flag, a small buy too, if you get a flag. Silver, gold, not a buy. So a lot of them are showing me that there isn't a buy setup on them. So I have to be careful. Although the dollar index does look like it has to go a little more to break the low first, right? I don't know whether they'll break the low, but it looks like that is possible. They can go break the low. So maybe everything will have one more movement up, one more push up. Break the low, then turn. Let's see if that happens. If you want to trade anything, I wouldn't advise. I would advise trade the euro if you want to trade, because the euro has a perfect flag for upside. If you want to trade something up to go break the top, the euro would be the best option. New Zealand, probably stay away from that. But if you really like it, there's probably about 20 pips with about a 20 pips risk. So it might be worth it as well. Swiss, we're expecting it to go down, and it's coming down, but very slow. You can see they're coming down from that top. We're looking for the sell in this. Really not a good sell. It doesn't have a pattern that is clear. And yesterday, because it was, market was closed, they stayed quite a long time there. I think we can get a trade today on this for the downside. It's coming down really slow. And the hope is if we get a flag here, we can go for a trade there. One more trade to the downside, one drop. I'm in the 15 minutes, so that one drop shouldn't be big. Now, the question is, will this go break the low? We're expecting it to go break the low, but would it go break the low? What if they're making a bigger corrective structure here? What if this just go back up one more? Well, we discussed that yesterday, and I'm explaining to you again today. I don't have the time to go through all the details in this webinar, but that possibility exists. The only thing that will happen is that then it will come here and go there back and then come. So you'll end up with a much bigger corrective structure if that happens. So on the upside, we could probably get a buy setup if we see the setup. If it makes an impulse and a flag for the upside, which is if it's going to go up, it will do that. Right now, if we get a flag, we sell. Right? If this thing consolidated some more in the upper direction, that'd be a sell setup for us. And this is the sell you could take. CAD. Okay. We broke this low. We expect them to come and break the bigger low. Let me just show. CAD is going to come down and then go back up. Because I'm assuming CAD is doing this as the B wave. This is your impulse down. We expected this to drop yesterday. It didn't drop. They actually went back, and it took a long time. The market was pretty much closed. So I can see this probably going back here, making a flag, coming one more. But the chances are you might still get this one up. Chances are you might still get that up. So I don't see a lot of downside here. I wouldn't be selling this right now. We'll wait for it to finish and then look for the buy setup on it. Let this move, whatever it's doing, finish whatever it's doing to the downside, ignore it. This thing has broken the weekly low already. So if it drops a little more, you can totally ignore it. But on the upside, we will take the trade. Not for the big move to start on the weekly, but just simply for this impulse up. And then we'll see, because I think this is 1, 2. This is not going to be the B wave. I'm absolutely sure this wouldn't be the B wave. So the question is whether we could look at this, and this as the B wave, as a contracting flat in there. Maybe. But still, I don't have a very good sell setup here, right? This thing is a bit too slow. And even if you get a sell setup, all you need to do is break this low and turn. So even if you get a flag here, this goes up or make a flag here, right? Give you a flag in here. And you put a sell here, you have to put a stop here, and the target is just here. That's about it. It could just break that low and turn right back up, because every time they break the low, they go back up. So even if you assume that that is a contracting flat in there, the trade has no good risk to reward in the downside. At least based on what we know, right? Based on how far we think this thing can go before it reverses. There is no specific target to the downside that needs to happen, because it will already fulfill the weekly target by breaking the low. So let's hope it consolidates in there, and then we'll get some good trades. Yen. Let me go to the daily so you can see. Yen is in a daily consolidation. I think this is pretty easy. This is your impulse. And whatever it's doing there, it's consolidating, right? This is the bigger impulse. But whatever you're doing there, you're consolidating. So whenever this is finished, it's going to come down here, make a flat. And we're likely going to go back up. Now the question is, should this drop all the way here? Well, they can come back all the way to this low. I'm not expecting them to do that, but they can do that if we're still in some big consolidation. If we're trying to trend to the upside, then they're not going to do that. They'll probably just come and break this low slightly and then take off. If you're assuming that that's what's going to do. So let's go to the 4 hour. We're in the middle of that consolidation and we're coming down back, which is understandable. Here is the problem. Could this be the end of the entire consolidation? And I personally have a problem with that being the end of the consolidation because there are a few pieces in here that doesn't make sense to me as well. So I'm expecting this to be 1, 2, 3, which means this should be 1, 2, 3. And we still have 1, 2, 3. So I'm still expecting this to come here, go back up there, make another one like this, and go and do that before we go down. That is my expectation of how this pattern should be here based on what I see. Now, if I'm wrong about that, this thing is just going to keep dropping all the way to break this low. We look for sell setups. That's what we're doing, right? We're selling this. You can see from the way I put my trades that we're selling that, we're selling this. And if we get a flag here today, we will sell. There isn't any flag to sell right now. But if it makes a flag or a flat, we will sell. So every sell setup we'll get until we break this low. If they stop short of breaking the low, which means stop somewhere here to turn to the upside, and we get buy setups, that's probably not going to be today, tomorrow, or the day after. We will buy it as well. But for the sell, we will go with every sell to this low and then maybe all the way to this low. If the correction is over and that pattern that I see is not the one that is correct, then we'll come back all the way down. Look for the sell setups and hope I'm wrong, because then you will get not this trade, but you'll get the trade all the way to the bottom here. EuroCAD. EuroCAD has a nice pattern there, so there's a probability that we can go break this top. You know, maybe look for a flag here and look for that trade up. Let's see if we get it. Some kind of a consolidation trade up, because this looks like a perfect flat pattern. Let's see if we get that trade up. That would be a buy setup. Euro Swiss. Okay, this didn't break the low, so we're still in the consolidation. I still think we'll put it there. Just a more complex one. We'll have to see whether this is, I don't think that's complete. 1, 2, 3. I don't think that part is complete as well. So we'll probably take off these and wait to see. There's a lot of pieces more that needs to build up in that piece. We're in a big consolidation for upside. That's an upside move, but this is not the one that is going, because this is part of a consolidation. We'll probably do this and then come here, and then we'll look for the upside. So you can ignore any buy setups you get for now. You may or may not get a sell to the drop to that level, but once we break this low, I'm expecting the up moves to start, and the up move is a good idea. Don't miss it, right? The down move, well, if we get a trade, we'll take it. Especially from the top there. Sorry. Okay, my voice is going. Give me 1 second. This is all the consolidation here. So they might go a little more to break that up. I can actually see this going a little more here. Tag this stop and then drop. That is possible. If we do that, we might get a sell setup, like from this one coming now, right? We might get a sell setup. If we don't get it, then we'll wait until it finishes the whole correction and then go for the trade. But there's a good chance you get a sell setup from the top there. Euro New Zealand, we're looking for a buy setup. Let's see what the pattern looks like. 1 second, guys. Yeah, sorry about that. Let's go. Sorry, my throat is kind of giving me some issues. So this came down the way we expected, but it's not going back up. So I'll assume we're making a more complex correction here. Since we're not going back up, let me take all of these out. That the top still remains there. I'll leave this. So it could be that we're making just a deeper, more complex corrective structure in here. I don't think we're going down as yet. I'm not looking for a downside. I'm looking for all of this consolidation to finish. Come back here, maybe go back there, maybe even come back here and then go. Right, looking for a consolidation here for the upside. So every buy setup I'll take. There's a sell setup on it right now. You can see that the break of this sell setup, but I'm not taking that trade because I'm not expecting a big down move on this one. I think the pattern ended here. So no big down move there. There's an impulse to the upside. And let's see what this consolidation looks like. And then we'll be looking for the upside. Right, so there's a buy setup we're looking for. It's just not there as yet. Sometime during the week, we will get that trade. when we get the right setup, and we'll see where it goes. So for now, I'm not interested in that little sell there. It's not interesting as you have to break this low before I'm convinced we're going down. Right now, it's an upside. Euro Oz. Okay, we did break the top, so we can assume that that flat is completed. We broke the top, but we're not going down as well as yet, right? We actually broke the top and we stayed right at the top there. So we broke the top once, and then we came and we reversed back to the top, and it looks more like a correct. Looks more like we're just making a more complex correction here. So I don't see the sell setup. The sell setup would come is if this drops some more and make a flag, then we'll consider a sell setup here. Can it be a buy setup? Yep. This could be some expanding or running flat, which means they come here, but don't make a flag and go back up. So I could see the possibility of this coming here, and instead of making a flag, just turn to the upside. We'll probably find a pattern in here. I think you're going to get a 1, 2, 3, a 1, 2, 3, a 1, 2, 3. Sorry, 1, 2, 3. And you can probably go for 1, 2, 3, and then upside. So there's a possible pattern like that for me. We'll just have to wait some more because it doesn't look very much downside as yet until we drop and make a flag. Then the downside will confirm. Euro pound, euro yen, sorry. Okay, so we broke that top. This was a flag. They broke it. They came back. They went back. It's more consolidation. Take it off. All right, see? It's more consolidation in this thing. This is becoming a bigger consolidation. And this thing has been doing that for a while. Let me just show you, which is kind of weird. They make a consolidation, go make another one, make a consolidation inside that one, make another one inside this one. So probably stay away from this thing. It will eventually go to the top here. And it's better if you don't get any trade because any trade you try to take might be a loss. This thing will crawl its way up to the top there. And we made that forecast from the bottom and we just cannot get the trade. From this point, we made the forecast for that thing to go up, right? But this is how we expect it to go up and this is how it's going up. And you can see on the 1 hour, it's really miserable to trade, right? It's really hard to trade. Although we have the forecasting part is correct. Strategies that you can use to trade it are dangerous. The ones you can, if you want to keep the trade, most of it, if you use the strategy we're using, you're going to get a series of break-even trade, which doesn't make sense. You're wasting your time behind it. Just let it go. 1 or 2 trades you probably would have got as winning trades, like the breakout of this one. Some of these in here would have been losing trades if you use the same strategy we used to trade it. So in here, you probably would get a few break-evens. So it doesn't make sense. Just leave it alone. They're consolidating again. All right, so you probably get a weird consolidation like this, and then you get another up move. Euro pound. Okay, that was a sell setup from that point. There was a second sell setup from here if you wanted it. And you might be getting another sell setup here. Not ready as yet. You can see it on the 15, right? It's not ready as yet. Because, yeah, you can make an argument for that. This one is pretty sharp. This pullback wasn't that much, but you can make an argument for a flat here. I can see this. And that's the end of it. Yep, that's a sell setup. So if you get a small flag here, that's a sell. You can make an argument that this correction is over and you're getting a sell setup there now. One more sell setup to break the low. So you're going to have one trade here. There's a trade setup here and there's a trade to break the low. Once you break the low, you'll be careful because once this break the low, no telling where it's going, right? We're still in a consolidation. So the only thing I expect them to do is break this low and they can even turn right back to the top. Or it might be more complex than that. If this is the B part of it, if this here is the B part, we'll have to go back up. We'll have to come back down and then we can be ready to go. We'll have something like this. So literally you can start putting this. We haven't broken the low, but I'll change the trend just to show you what it could look like. And you might get something looking like this. Right? So you have 1, 2, and we'll assume all of that to B wave to the bottom here. Go back up there, come back here, and then go for this one. That might just be a big flat. Not the big move to the upside, but a big flat actually, because it's going to come pretty low into that 4-hour structure. Right? And turn out to be a big flat for more downside. So if they do all of that, which means if you come here, this is a trade today, go back up, come back down, and then go here. That just turns out to be a big flat for downside. See? So let's follow it. There's a trade today to the downside, and then you're looking for the buy setup. Let's see what the bigger picture is. Well, it doesn't really have to break that top. They can come down right now because this is the corrective part of it. So if we get sell setup, we can go with it. Let's go see. Yep, they did break that top. So if we get a reversal, this was the buy and that was the buy. Those two buys are off. Now we're looking for sell setups, but we don't have sell setups, not as yet. We've got an impulse down. That's a good thing. We could make an argument for running flat here, by the way. This one is pretty, that's the problem. That's a big running flat at the top of the structure. Not a good idea, all right? This is really not a good idea. We have a big running flat here. We could make an argument for that. But this flat is right at the top of the structure. So it could either do this, one more up, and then we get a turn, or it could drop. So here's what you've got to do. We've got to take this. If we get a flag here, a small one, not a big one. You don't want a big flag. A big flag means you stay the hell out of it. You get a small flag and we take that trade with the stop here. Once it breaks this low, put it to break even. Because if they're going to go back up, if this is the running flat, if it's a big flat for upside, you're going to go right back up. But if this is a big flat, and we've seen that at the top of a structure that is falling, and we've seen that where they make a big flat and then go right. The classical one is this. This is a classical reversal flat upside, right? That is classical. But sometimes we do have these big flats at the top of the structure, a small impulse, a big flat, and it literally drop. And especially since we expect this to drop, I think it makes sense, right? Take the risk. I think the risk is worth it. Of course, we'll try to get out for break even if we're wrong, right? If we're wrong about this, I don't see anywhere else. I don't see anything with this. There is a small one there, but I don't think so. I think this doesn't look bad by itself, right? This piece here. You can make an argument for a bigger one happening here as well and go for the smaller one. That is likely. Okay, so if the 15 minutes is showing us that that could be a small one, then this is making a bigger one. What we can do, wait for a flag here, take this trade down. It comes to this level, put it to break even. Because there's a chance they go back up there, make a bigger flat here and then drop. If we assume that this small one here can fit as a contracting flat. Yeah, it can. There's an argument for that to be a contracting flat. So make another flat here and then go. If this drops to the bottom, then we will go back with this as the running flat. But we'll take it as a running flat. And that is why if it's a running flat, if we get everything here, can this go up some more from this point? It's also possible. I don't see them going from this point. They'll have to probably break the low before they go up higher. I'm not interested in the buy. Not in this structure, not where we are, right? In this structure where we are, not even if they're going to break that up, I'm not interested in that buy. I'm interested in the sell. The sell has a bigger downside than the buy has. So in the 1 hour, let's see if we get the sell today, right? We'll track this in the trading room. I think we should get the trade. If you want to buy something with an Aussie, maybe Euro Oz has a buy. If Euro Oz has a buy, go with the Euro Oz buy. Yeah, if Euro Oz turned out to be a buy from the bottom here, the Euro Oz buy would be a better one than the Pound Oz. But let's see. Pound New Zealand, big picture. We're going back up again, which is kind of weird, but it's going back up. So you have a buy setup to break the top again, and then we'll see what happens from that point, right? Because it will likely go break the top again. Yeah, it is consolidating, and with this impulse in play, if you consolidate at the top here, sorry, you're going to come to break the top. So that's a buy setup, break the top, and then we'll figure out this. This will prove to us that they're making a big sideways move for upside. So we'll take this out here, we'll put that like this, and this becomes, if we go back and tag the top there, then all of this, we can probably make an argument for this, or we can make an argument for this one here. I think this one would be a better one, right? Right, for this move to like 1, 2, 3 to the top there, and then we'll see whether we want to take this as a 1, 2, 3 there, or whether we take it differently. We'll see how we take it, but in this will be the B part of it, and then we'll come back here and definitely go up. Because the higher they go here, the more they're confirming to us that this is making a flat for upside. So there will be a trade to the downside. We can actually have a trade to the upside today before we get a downside. I think the upside is very likely. If it breaks out, it's a good trade. We'll go for it. Hong Yen, you can actually take a breakout. You don't take that one. If you want to take this breakout, right? Because by the time they get to the top there, it can turn and you will not get a break-even trade. You might not get a chance at a break-even because we're the weekly. This is the weekly top. See, that's the weekly top. If they tag the weekly top, it will be a pullback, most likely even a reversal. See, that's what you have. This is classical. If you had seen this in the 60 minutes, you put an entry order here to sell the breakout. If that was the 60 minutes, right? Because this would be a 20 pip thing with an impulse and a flat and then downside. You make an assumption that we're making a running flat or an expanding flat, depending on whether they break the top. This is a weekly chart. So we don't have to put an entry here. We have to look for a sell from the top there. Break or don't break the top is irrelevant. It only changes the pattern as far as we see it. We're looking for a sell once we get to that top. Now, what are the chances this is the start of the biggest up move to come? Let's go for that. What are the chances that could happen? It's rare. As far as I can see, we have divergence between this and between this. Do we have it in the weekly? No, in the weekly we don't, but we have it here. But if you're going to have it in the weekly, then you have to have a correction this size to come back, right? If you don't have it and you need divergence, you'd have to have a correction like this, go back and then see divergence here, right? So that's not going to happen if you don't see it here. So go to the daily, you see it. Yep, it exists there. That's an important one. This is the important. And we're getting internal divergence at the top there, which means in the 4 hour we have divergence. Yes. On the 1 hour we have divergence. The 1 hour divergence at the top of this structure will start from this point here. We don't have divergence, see? So there is a chance that this goes and make divergence. Maybe this even come back here. We might get a bigger one, like, I don't know, like this or like this. A bigger consolidation here, and then go give us divergence and then come. So there's a possibility for that. Ignore the buy. Let it finish what it has to do. And then we wait for the sell setup. Because of the weekly top, I try to buy the last piece on it. You're just setting yourself up for trouble, right? Let the last piece finish. There is a couple thousand pips to the downside. Why fight over this? Let it finish. It's at the top. Let it break the top. Don't break the top. Consolidate. Do what it's doing. And then we start to focus on the downside of it. Punkat. We're expecting this thing to go up, and it will go up. Even if the pound doesn't go up, the idea is that the cat could move this to the top there. Because so far, every piece of this thing worked perfect. Every bit of it moved perfect so far, right? So that up move is very likely going to happen. Question is, it's very, very slow. It's going, but it's going really, really slow. So we've got a flat and this piece is not moving. So it's making, this is a bigger one. We're getting one flat into another flat into another flat. I really don't like that. I didn't like it when they make two flat inside of the bigger correction. Now they have a bigger one. Now we're getting another one here. And we'll probably break that up. I think we wait on this thing. This is like the euro yen going up right now. It's a headache. So let's give it some time. What I want to see is they move away from this consolidation zone. Either we come back here and then go. That is a possibility. I think that's a very strong probability now to happen. They come back and then go. Because the move downs are sharper, but this move is very, 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 correct. More like this. This is a sharp move down. That is a sharp move down. So I can anticipate the sharp move down. And if it happens, it's most likely going to be like this. Right? If it happens, because this looks very corrective. But if that is moving up slowly like that, for whatever reason, then what we would assume is that at some point it will have to take off. So I think we wait for that takeoff and then a normal, regular, good flat here, and then we go for that trade. Flat or flag or something, and then we go. Because you want to get out of that cluster. It's not, we are looking for the buy setup, but we don't have it. And we don't even have a sell setup. We're just getting flags into flags into flags. So just wait. Pound Swiss. Okay, this one went a little higher. That didn't change. I don't think structurally we have any change. Still looks downside. If it breaks this top, that could be a change. If it breaks the top, we still look for this trade to the downside. But if they break the top, we cancel the sell. And we'll probably look at this as a contracting flat. We had that originally, a drop here, an impulse there. And if this goes break the top, it will come back here, but then it's going to go straight up. This will become a bigger flat for upside. So if they break the top, we look for a sell, but it's short term here and then upside, and then we'll go with a contracting flat in here. So for now, we're still leaving that open because both of those possibilities exist. Let's wait and see. We saw the contracting flat. Earlier, we had this as a contracting flat. Right, we had that as a contracting flat, but because this didn't take off as a flag here, we assumed that, well, they'll probably go retest the low again. And now it's looking more like a consolidation at the top of this move. So we might still, there's still a chance that, especially if you come and break the top now, right? Let me just put this at the top. Especially if you come and break that top, you're going to expect a running flat. So we're going to have an impulse up, a correction down, an impulse up, a correction down, sorry, another impulse down to finish this one, and then that move up. So let's wait and see. There's no buy set up at the top there. Aussie CAD. Okay, so if you took this sell and this sell, you're doing well. This sell didn't trigger, it didn't break out. See, it didn't break out of this. 1, 2, 3. We were expecting yesterday. 1, 2, 3, and this should break out if you're going to continue to go well. They didn't. They're making a bigger upside, so take that out now. You can take these out. I think you're probably out of all of those trades for profit. Take this one out. And now we have this. So the question is that a bigger consolidation for downside? I still think so, yes. Is an impulse? I think that's a bigger consolidation, but it's for downside. It's still for downside. So now we repeat these smaller flags to the downside, only this time it should be a bigger move. So let's see if we have any setup. Nope, not as yet, but we broke the top, so keep your eyes open for that, right? If this drops here and make a flag, we go for the sell. If it breaks this low, you go for the sell. You can wait for a flag. That would be the advantage if you wait for a flag. Aussie, New Zealand, yeah. It's making a big flat there now, so that's a sell setup. It did go back for the flat, so you can assume that it might be complete. And now you can go with 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So yep, that is ready for downside. See? Perfect. Let's go into 1 hour and see if we get a trade set up. That's a good one. You can actually sell it now. We still don't have anything for that, but we'll look at that to see whether this belongs to anything in here, right? Since it's gone, we'd have to go with 1, 2, 3, and this is going to continue to go down, right? We're not getting that sharp one. So that sharp one probably we'll have to, put it with this one to finish that move, maybe. This is not lower. So it's kind of weird. That one is not lower, so we'll have to wait and see. Maybe we're still going to get it, stay out of that. I think this is the low, so we'll stick to that low for now. And even if you get this drop, there is a chance you're going to still get that. And then the drop. It still happens. So just wait, because I don't have anything on this scale. It doesn't look like a standalone as well. So let's wait and see. But this is a sell setup. And this sell setup might be interesting because they're starting to move really fast now. Aussie Swiss, also downside. So Aussie Swiss downside, Aussie New Zealand downside, Aussie CAD downside. Okay. Aussie dollar downside. When it breaks, there's a little more up than downside. Aussie yen. Could be downside. I'm not sure about that as yet. Where's the bigger picture? 4 hour. Yeah, very likely downside. We have a lot of divergence. We broke the top. So it's very likely downside. Let's see. This is also consolidating here. So yeah, downside is likely, except for right now, we have to go break this top, right? You have to break that top. So probably do this and then see if you get one more down. New Zealand Swiss. It's possible you could be looking for one more drop to this low. and then it's upside, right? This is a big consolidation for upside, right? So we may get one more drop to this level, break the low and then upside, or this thing crawls up to the top there, make a flat here, and then upside. If we get the flat, that'd be perfect buy setup. So let's go. Keep an eye on this. If it goes up some more, come back to this level only and then take off, we definitely go for that buy. This would be the low, we go for the buy. So there's a sell setup forming here today, either to tag the low or to drop to this level. We should take this out and see wherever it goes, right? Especially if it doesn't go back. If it doesn't go back higher than it is right now, the sell becomes interesting. You can put it here now, right? So all you need this to do is break this top here and then drop. That's a good sell. If it goes higher, then we would assume that 1, 2, 3, and then upside. It will come back, right? It will make the C wave, but it's not going to drop. It's just going to stop short of this, especially if you break the top. So we'll get a running flat and then upside. I like the idea. New Zealand CAD. This should go down some more, but we'll have to wait to see this. Let it consolidate here. And I think this should go down some more, especially if you just get a consolidation here and then start to drop. That'd be a perfect sell setup. New Zealand yen. Yep, we definitely want this sell, right? This is a very interesting sell, and I think they can go break the top. I can see this going breaking this top and then drop, right? Because we have this move, we have 1, 2. It might be a little more complex than that. I think we could go with this as a separate one, an impulse down, and now we're just making correction up. So we can take this out and just go with a bigger correction because that's not a C wave. So you can make an argument for a smaller correction there. Make an impulse, and now we're correcting this. So a little more up. I think this could go up some more. And then look for a drop. That would be the sell setup. Okay. Do we have a reversal? Maybe. This could be it. Or the start of it, right? It didn't come back to the low. It's at least about 50% away. See, all of these dropped to the low. That didn't drop to the low. So this might be the starting point. Let's see in the 4 hour. Could be 1 hour. Looks good for at least one more move up. If it's not the starting point, it's at least one more move up. If it's not the start of the big move to the upside, I mean the big weekly one, but at least one more move up. So go for the trade. Canadian. We're going to break the top. I mean, this top here, I don't know if we're going to get to the other top, but we're breaking this top here already. That small consolidation there. This one is going to go break this top, and then it might get to that top. So there's a buy setup you could make, and you could go for, right? So there's a bicep for, there's a flag forming here for a buy setup to the upside. So you've got a 1, 2, 3 down. You've got a 1, 2, 3 down. You're trying to get this to go back above that top. Swiss yen, sorry, Swiss yen. This move down is pretty slow, but we're not making an aggressive move up. We're consolidating here. So if you consolidate here, this will still be downside, but this one might be sharp. So if we get a consolidation there, we look for the sell setup. Cat Swiss. Okay, let's go. This one is, it's upside, but you probably stay out of it. It's not going very fast. You'd have to probably put an entry and hope that it takes off. It's really, really slow. Okay, so we got a 1, 2, 3 down. We got the 1, we got the 2, we got the 3. But they're not going down, right? They're actually making more attempt at upside. So this would probably pull back here, and that's a buy setup. We might break the top again. Right? There's a good chance they go break the top again. I would not be very curious of trading this one. Not to the upside, not to the downside. We'll just have to wait some more. Forget about this one. Let's go. Okay, US oil broke the top. We broke this top, but we haven't broken that top. So we're not going for a big running flat. We're still in the correction. right? I still think there's a chance when they can. Now, if they go break that top, we would look for a running flat, and that means it's upside, right? Because if they go break this top, there might be a buy setup there, but once they break that top, we can expect a move down, but then total upside. That would give us a big running flat pattern. Let's see what UK oil is doing. Pretty much the same thing. Well, now we broke the top. Remember, we didn't break it for the whole of last week, and yesterday didn't break. Now this morning they broke that top. So finally, this could come down anytime here, or even go break that top. If we get buy setup, we can go with it, break this top, running flat and upside. If they break the top, they don't break the top, well, it's still a flat because they've come back pretty much to the high. So I still think after we have the impulse down, we're going to get more upside. So let's see if you get a buy setup there in the 1 hour ticket. There was a buy setup this morning. See, there's a buy setup here. You need another flag, then you can go for the trade to the upside, which means you're not going to get a trade until tomorrow. Right? The flag will take about half a day to 12 hours to more to happen, right? Then we can get a trade to the upside. If they start to drop, it can drop really fast. We will go with the sell. Now that we've broken that up, if it starts to drop, we'll go for the sell. Natural gas, stay away from it. You're in a consolidation. It's not going anywhere right now. Okay, we didn't go break the top anymore. We are expecting this to go break the top and then come back. They haven't done that as yet. It just went sideways, which means the chances are we're still going to go break the top, right? This is still going to go break that top and then come back. I will look at this as some kind of a consolidation. It's making a consolidation. I still think we'll get to that top, and then we're coming back here to finish this move, right? So some upside, but then I expect downside. You can buy it. I don't know how wide it's going to go. And then we're expecting it to come down. And NASDAQ is pretty much the same thing. We broke the top on NASDAQ, which is good. We broke the top, and we're coming back. So what's the big picture? Well, this one doesn't really have to come back. This could just consolidate and go again, right? Because we're not expecting it to make a bigger move down. Even if it does, we're not expecting that. We're assuming that this pattern could complete there. Maybe they're going to go somewhere. But right now, it's looking like a sell setup because we broke the top and we're coming down. Well, not exactly. This could be a B part. They could come here and still go a running flat pattern. So you can put an entry order above the top now and wait to see if you get a flag for a sell. If it's a flag for a sell, take off the entry order and go for the sell. But if they go back up as a running flat, it's something like this, which is possible. Right? If this goes back up as a running flat, then that is a good buy setup. It could come a little more here and put the entry order. If they take off, that's a good trade. If they come here and consolidate, we look for a sell. S&P 500. It will probably come back one, right? We have to come back one more here. Finish this one. 1, 2, 3. Go back up there, come back here, and then go. So we're in that flat. I think today we look for a sell setup. Short term, maybe a buy. I don't think they'll break the top. If they break the top, that'd be some running flat in the making. There's a buy setup right now. See this? But there was a buy setup yesterday, right? So this might just do that. And then we look for the sell back like this. And then it will probably be here. Then we look for the buy. I don't think they're going to go all the way to the bottom, more like this. And then upside. Tax. Okay. So we're consolidating at the top there. Also, we're making new highs, but this is becoming consolidation. You can pull it like this. Just take out some of those drawings. So if you look at it this way, we're breaking the top. We broke this top. We broke that top. These are highs. And right now we're making kind of a flat here. See this? But you only have 1, 2. So let's see if we get a 3 down here and then go. Or if it becomes more complex like this and then go. Right? That is a possibility. So let's see. We don't have any setup for a buy or sell in the 1 hour. Not really. This is coming down, but I don't think this is all. This is coming down. You're probably going up a little, or you could drop here. But I don't think this is all, just like I don't think this is all as well. So we're making some kind of a bigger consolidation here. That'll probably be one more upside. So you might get upside, you might get downside, and then upside, and then downside, and then we go. So wherever you get a flag, take the trade, take the profit off. treat this as a single trade and take the profit off. Most likely, I think they're going to drop lower first. AU200, we finally broke the top. So if it wants to go down, now it can go. So remember, when this didn't break the top and this didn't break the top and that didn't break the top and it was coming down, I said, no, don't chase yourself on the sellers yet. We have to break the top. Well, now we broke the top. It can fall. It doesn't mean it is going to fall. It means it can fall. The criteria for the pattern is completed, but the impulse is not completed, which means this move might not be completed. This means this can work its way up and work its way up and work its way up and then come down. But the criteria is breaking the top, and that is fulfilled. So let's see what they're doing now on the 1 hour. It's coming down. That's a good sign. If you get a consolidation here, now you can sell. If you get a consolidation here, especially in the lower level, not going back to the top, that's a sell setup. And a very good one. Nifty, more up, take flags, buy. We broke the top already, but it's still going. You do have divergence. Move your subs very tight and follow it. It could go a lot more. This one is kind of in a consolidation. I think we stay out of it. You can see that it's kind of consolidating in this range. It's not going anywhere. Tesla. Okay, Tesla didn't break the low, so we're going to expect more upside at this point. We're going to expect something more, I don't know. Depending on how you look at this piece, could come back all the way to this top and then go down. The consolidation will be bigger. Remember, I don't know if I mentioned it in last week's webinar or whether I did it only in my group, but this time factor for the consolidation is too small. So I think we're going to make a more complex correction here and then go down and then go up. So I could see them staying in this for a longer time. Let's see. Amazon, downside, right? Eventually this, but finish what it's doing and then get one more. SR, more upside, but very slow. A flat, then upside. We're coming back to this level here. That will be your flat, and then upside. Reliance. Okay, we didn't break the low and we're still going up. So we're just making a more complex pattern. I don't think we're going up, right? This whole correction is becoming very complex. Could it be a contracting flat at this point? I mean the bigger one. This one here, 1, 2, 3 for upside. That'd be a contracting flat because we're not breaking the low. Well, if you get flag here, if we get a 4-hour correction here, that's a buy setup. We'd assume it's a contracting flat. I don't like contracting flats. I prefer when they break the low. So unless we get that, there's no trade. But if it starts to fall and you get a flag, you can sell to break the low. It means it's still a more complex pattern, but now the C wave is getting more complex. So let's see. PayPal, more up and then down. Same thing, PayPal had a very small correction. And I think this is going to go sideways some more. So up there, down here, up there, down here, and then probably downside. US 200. Stay out of this, not ready as yet. Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin is in a consolidation. It looks like we'll take a while here because we're not breaking that top as yet. Right, so we're still in the middle, which means this can come down a little. I can see this probably going back up, maybe coming back down, maybe going back up, stay here for a while and then drop because it looks like we're going sideways. So what's the most immediate trade here? Probably a sell. Look for a short-term sell in this one. And that's a very short-term sell. So we'll see. I don't think it's a big sell. XRP. Okay, so this is what you have. And you're kind of breaking out. So you look for two things. I'll put it like this. And if you get small flags here, you go for the trade to the top. Right? If you get small flags. If you notice they're coming back, they'll make one more low and then go. 1 second, guys. Let me get a sip of water. Okay, let's go. So This one, be careful. It's going up, but we still have this sharp move here, right? So although it looks like it's going up, I think we can see more consolidation in this piece before they go. Probably even a retest of the low. Link, same thing. Consolidation, I think more low. ETH, consolidation. We're not going up. This might even go up and break that top, but it's look like more like consolidation for downside. Dash, same thing. Dash is upside. This consolidation is upside, but not far. I don't know what happened to the rest of it. This is upside, but I don't think that's the top because you still have that sharp wave. So it's going to be a more complex pattern here. LRC, downside. This is easier. This is downside. So far, the lower time frame might go a little more up, but the bigger picture is looking more downside. TRX, as long as you stay in this thing, it's a lot of consolidation. So even if they come a little more here, we're expecting downside. You still have this and you still have that and you still have this. So it's just a lot of consolidation going on. All of them. See? This is, I don't think that is going to break out because we haven't broken the low. And we still have that sharp one. So we're probably just going to have a more complex pattern in there. Buy flags up and down, one trade. Same thing with this. This looks more downside right now. That looks more downside. And ADA. Same pattern. You're stuck in this sideways move here. So I don't think we're going to go anywhere until we come back and break that low. Retest the low. So if you're trading these, you have to be long-term on them, or you take a short-term, which means you take a flag, you take the trade, you take the profit off. Right? That's it for these. So, okay, for all my YouTube viewers, if you managed to stay to the end, congratulations. You can now share this video with someone else. That would be great. For our traders, I will close the room and you guys coming back, we'll go in the trading room, right? I'll close the room so that the video processes. And now is what? Now it's 7:39. I'll see you about half an hour at 8 a.m. in the trading room, right? So I'll close everything, see all of you guys in half an hour. You can come in without me and start, right? I'll see you in half an hour. Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks for being here.